All right, everyone, I took a month away from producing content and being able to put out very much. And as you all know, it's because I accepted a position at Canva. Since accepting this position at Canva, I wanted to give you a little of backstory and just kind of give you a little bit of a life update. I've been getting a ton of questions lately surrounding my move to Canva, what I'm currently doing, and so I just decided to break it all down. So tune in, turn it up, and let's get ready to do this. Hi everyone, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Leena Marie Saleh, the Edtech Guru. I want to thank you so much for spending time with me on this journey, for all the support that you give me, and for following along. Don't forget to hit the thumbs up button, subscribe, and let's get ready to do this. First, I want to discuss why I decided to make the decision to leave CodeMonkey and a little bit of the backstory there. How did I even get there? How did I get where I am now? I just wanted to give all of those new listeners and maybe old ones a little bit of an update of where I am today. As most of you know, I taught in the classroom for about 10 years. And even when I was in high school, I did reading groups and I did all kinds of things to be able to be in the classroom. I lived, eat, and breathed being a teacher. It was all I ever wanted from a very, very young age to right before I left the classroom. Now, I want to talk a little bit about the power of networking and just kind of break that all down for you. So it'll kind of give you a little bit of a backstory about where I am and how I kind of got to this position that I'm in now. When I was in Colorado at my last STEM school with Kelly Loth from MindSpark Learning, I had a really great teammate, Bobby Bastian, and both of those two ladies really lifted me up, as well as everybody at the STEM school that I was at, STEM Launch in Thornton, Colorado. If you are in the Colorado area, I definitely recommend checking that network of STEM schools out. If I were to have a child today, I would for sure put my kids in that school. The teachers are really great, and what they're fostering and being able to build amongst the students and the skill sets that they'll be able to have will transcend their K-12 journey. That's another side note. So there we had a maker space, a fab lab, we had 3D printers, and we had sewing machines, and we had this really wealth of knowledge. But what else we had was support within that network. While there, I began to present at conferences, present at the district, and really start taking that leap to start networking as much as possible. That networking opportunity left me in a position to make a move. And because we had a partner at one of our schools, and that partner actually had a school in Austin, reached out to them, said, hey, I really am interested in continuing my journey with STEM education. And I had just recently graduated with my master's in administration. And so I took a position in Austin at a STEM school. Now, the STEM school, not going to throw anyone under the bus. It just wasn't what I dreamed about, where I thought I would be. And it was a place where I spent a lot of time crying on that journey and just kind of learning a lot of things. But wasn't all bad. I really learned how to take action, to advocate for myself, and to really start creating meaningful, not that I hadn't been doing it before, but really meaningful connections and providing students with really meaningful options. And when I moved from Denver to Austin, I realized really, really quickly I didn't have a network. At my school that I was at, it was 4 teachers, and that was all that there was at the school site. And so what I immediately knew is I had to start networking in some way. And so I started looking up at meetups. I knew that people did them, and we had done them in Colorado. I just had never went. And I'll tell you that the first time I ever went, I sat in my car and I missed the first meetup because I was so nervous to go. And I didn't know anyone, and I had such anxiety that I didn't go. The second time, I said, I have to go. I have to make this happen. So I went, I sat in the back, and I didn't communicate with anyone. And then I started making more and more. Then I started to network with them. And then I reached out to the founder of the meetup group through Meetup. I also found their email, and I reached out to them on LinkedIn. I said, hey, is there any way that we could just talk? And I would love to kind of get your perspective, knowing that the founder had been a former educator as well. So I reached out to him, and so we ended up having a conversation, and he said, hey, here's some opportunities. So he ended up kind of giving me a couple of opportunities, becoming a lead organizer of the Austin chapter of Education First, and Education First provides scholarships. So I led a team of volunteers and kind of helped run that organization, fundraisers, all that kind of la di da. But what also started to happen was I started organizing the EdTech Austin meetups. Eventually, right before the pandemic, actually, right after the pandemic, I decided to step away from EdTech Austin and kind of focus on other areas. It was a hard decision, but a needed decision. It led me to making some really unique connections in Austin. I started organizing, I was able to see all the different EdTech opportunities and companies and all the other things that were available to me. Having been at that STEM school, we had done a lot of work already with EdTech companies. We would launch a lot of products, we would speak with a lot of companies, and we kind of ran focus groups in our school, but like on a much larger scale. So we were able to take a lot of risks and those types of things. So I knew that EdTech companies needed us, and I knew that when the trainers would come to give us professional development sessions, that they were former educators as well. So I knew that. I didn't really click for me at that time. But when I started organizing the meetups, and our meetups really were at the very beginning pretty education heavy, a lot of teachers coming in, really wanting to participate with the EdTech companies. And then a transition happened around the same time that I wanted to leave from the classroom, about a year or so after I left the classroom. The group started to change a bit. It started to be teachers who were looking to join the EdTech world and get out of education. So it was then that I knew that there was going to be a unique opportunity and that I needed to start doing something. So our meetup started to really focus heavily on what skill sets do you have? How can you make the transition from the classroom? And those types of things. Now, lead me fast forward to CodeMonkey. I applied, as everyone knows from my past stories. If you haven't gave them a listen, I would encourage you to go back and kind of just hear my story. But I did apply for hundreds of places. Companies I'd never heard of, just anything that I could to kind of get my foot into the door. I was on a call recently with someone who was looking for some mentorship. On that conversation that we had, I told her a horror story that happened to me. I had launched, like I mentioned, a lot of EdTech products and went to a lot of trainings. And then we started training other people in the district on these specific EdTech products. But there was a product that I used, Everfi, which I still love the product. I think it's an amazing product. And I was confident. I had done trainings, I had taught other teachers how to do the trainings, and I made an epic mistake. I thought I knew exactly what they were looking for. It was going to be a sales trainee position. I went into the interview. This still brings back memories. And I did the interview, and I don't think I've ever failed so hard at something in my entire life as I did in that interview. I came out of the interview, and my boyfriend, now husband, asked me if I had taken a shower. Now, this is really embarrassing. I know, super embarrassing, but I just feel like I would tell you guys anyway. I came out of that interview soaked because I wasn't prepared. I didn't have any guidance. I didn't even have anyone in my network who I could reach out to, who I could have conversations with about different things. Luckily, I met some people in the EdTech Austin group. Daniela Latham, she's really great. She was formerly at Kahoot, and now we actually work together at Canva, which is really amazing. She helped me with my resume. There were some other people in the corporate space that helped me with my resume as well, but I'll tell you that I wasn't getting callbacks really for any of these companies. And so I knew I had to do a change. So I started searching and searching and searching and searching and making iterations and changing. And then afterwards, I would start reaching out to the people within my network at EdTech Austin, where we were doing these organizations, and I would ask them if they could look it over and see if they had any feedback. So I just really started to like naturally network. I didn't really make use as LinkedIn as much as I would like, but then I started to really understand. I interviewed at companies like Digital Promise and IXL, and there were some certain things that I started to notice that I kind of wanted to start off with something that was smaller. Sometimes when you're in really large companies, it can be really hard to, I don't know what the best way to say this, but it can be really hard to get the proper training and structure that you need for a really fast paced environment. IXL, even Canva, all of these like really, really large companies, they need to move fast. And sometimes, as an educator moving into the field, there's a lot of things that you need to learn, and sometimes people don't have the patience for you. And also, you don't have the flexibility as much to learn as many parts of the organization. And so I really knew that I wanted to work for something a little bit smaller to kind of get my feet wet. Now, bringing me to CodeMonkey is I applied for the position. I really didn't hear anything for a few months after my first and second interview. I got ghosted, or what I thought was ghosted. And then I started getting callbacks. My resume started being picked up. I changed my cover letter to meet a little bit more of the needs. There wasn't as much AI scanning software and things like JobScan and all of those things that there are now. Then I ended up accepting the position at CodeMonkey. Now, I had used CodeMonkey in my classroom. Was I super familiar with it? No, but I had done stuff with code.org. I had done stuff with Tinker and Scratch, and I had done trainings on every single one of those products actually. And so that kind of led itself to where I am today. Now, at CodeMonkey, as you all know, or if you don't know, I've done a lot of things within the company. When I first got to CodeMonkey, there was no professional development. I was actually a 70-30 split, professional development and sales. And I spent the first 6 months or so really just doing professional development. I had zero leads. I didn't have anything, and I was the only US based employee, so I had to figure it out. So I started to reach out to the networks that I knew in Austin and started joining those and joining as CodeMonkey rather than joining as a teacher. And then I started to build those network because people remembered me from the EdTech Austin and they did those other things. Then I started going to conferences. I just had to put myself out there. Every time I went to these events, though, I had such a high anxiety about meeting new people and putting myself out there that there were many times that I missed these types of meetups because it made me so nervous. Having been in the side of CodeMonkey, though, gave me a little bit of more confidence than I had before because I felt like now I was bringing something to the table. What really changed? Really not much, except for just my perspective. So I'd encourage you to make sure that you kind of have that mindset shift as well. And then I started to build up my own leads. I started to use what I knew as a teacher. I knew that high paying and low paying districts and what kinds of funding they had. I started reading every article I could read. And then I started to reshape the professional development and build it. There were some changes in the company. Of course, COVID affected every single company that was out there. And it just gave me an opportunity to kind of work with the product. Having done the things that I had done in the classroom, it helped me work with the product team and the dev team. And I knew what kinds of events and things students would want, teachers would want to interact with. And we just started to do those regularly. It's important to be consistent and to have follow through in all of these positions. Then a few months before really as the really ending of 2021, there started to be a lot of recruiters. I wasn't necessarily looking for something to leave CodeMonkey. I loved it. I felt like I fit in. I felt like I was thriving. There was no real reason why I left CodeMonkey. I don't hate it. I think it's an amazing product and I cannot wait to see where they grow. And I know they're going to do really, really amazing things. And I can't wait to see all the kids who have used CodeMonkey for years come out into the world with the skill set that they've learned. But I was ready for something a little bit new challenge. I was still being challenged at CodeMonkey, but I was kind of ready for a new challenge. And so, I took a couple of interviews, just kind of interest interviews, and some of them just really didn't feel like a good fit. I promised myself that I wouldn't leave unless it was something that I definitely believed in and that I felt passionate about. I wanted to make sure that whatever I did next was I was super passionate about. I was very passionate about the work that I was doing at CodeMonkey. I'm very interested making sure students have computer science, but also giving teachers the skills because we know that it's a need and each state is passing these set of standards, but the teachers aren't ready. And so I just brought that passion to it. And I still am very passionate. I hope that any of the people that I've worked with previously, I hope they have hopefully good things to say about me and their experience at CodeMonkey. And that's all I could wish for. Um, and I hope that I can form those connections there too. So, my new position at Canva is helping to create Canva for Education is free for all educators. I know we get this question a lot. There is a pro version and then there's an education version. What's the difference between the two? As a teacher, you can sign up. All you need is verification and you get the product completely free. The difference between the pro and the teacher version is you're going to have a lot more education heavy templates. A lot of things are going to kind of help you, embedded images, things that are safe for school versus the pro where it's going to have images like a product, maybe a company may be delivering nursing products, let's say. And so there are going to be images to support that. Whereas in the education side, they've been vetted and we vet them continuously actually. And then there's a district side. The district gives everybody access and it gives the district a little bit more leverage as far as control issues as well. And so that's also free. The founders, if you haven't heard their story, listen to them on how I built this, read a couple of articles. They're amazing what they've been able to accomplish. A unicorn company, $40 billion. What's really nice about Canva too is there's a lot of women leadership in the company. And a lot of times when you're working at like a tech type of company, it's rare to see that really, that they are lifting females up just as much as they are the males. And so it's really, really nice to see that. And it really makes my heart sing. Just a side caveat note that I wanted to add in, the founder of Edtech Austin, Sean Duffy, I recommend you could reach out to him if you have questions or wonderings about how to start meetups or anything like that. But he was a really great mentor to me. But he actually knew the founders of CodeMonkey. Ironically, they were going to be in an accelerator out of Pearson. The program ended up getting canned, but they actually knew him from that. And I didn't find out till later after I had been interviewed. The moral of the story is that everybody knows somebody somewhere. And so that's kind of what it is. And then I just wanted to give you just kind of my feedback on how the transition has went from CodeMonkey to Canva so far. First of all, I love everyone on my team. It's an extremely talented bunch of people, and I just feel really honored to be a part of the company. Another thing is you can really see how important the educator voice is in products, no matter how established, under-established they are. Educators being in these roles for edtech companies is essential. So have frustrations or wonderings, they need you. So don't worry. They want you. It's just a matter of a few tweaks and things that you need to do. But I've had to learn a lot. It's way different from working in a much smaller company. CodeMonkey has about 13 employees. There is different operations and we have different resellers around the company, but as a core team, it's 13 people. So it's just a much uniquer experience. I would say the pace is really pretty much the same. I've just had to really learn my footing and kind of get my feet wet. And so I've really just dove headfirst into that and really just spent the last month soaking everything up that I can. And I hope that I'm able to have a success there. That doesn't mean I'm going to stop doing content or producing things for you, but I just wanted to give you a little bit of a life update so you didn't think I disappeared off the face of the planet. A couple of things that have been in action. I was on Christopher Nessie's podcast. I recommend you check that out. We talk about the power of networking. And then I also joined the Voices of E-Learning. So that is with JW Marshall. That will be down in the show notes as well. And so we put out continuous episodes, some solo, some together, just breaking down all the things in e-learning from the very beginning to current now and what you need to do for upskilling. So I hope that you check those out. And as always, I just want to thank you so much for spending your time with me. I hope that I'm able to provide you value. I'm also seeking sponsorship. So if anyone is interested in doing sponsorship or has some topic ideas, I have some really great things in the works for this season. And I'm so excited to spend this journey with you for another year. Thank you again. Hit the thumbs up, subscribe, and we'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye, everybody. Thank you so much. You've made it this far. I appreciate all of your support. Please don't forget to like, share, subscribe, throw the comments below in the comment section. I'm always looking for new ideas and hot trends, or if you're looking to sponsor our podcast and video episodes, reach out to us on any of our social media channels. And you can even find us anywhere you find your podcasts. Once again, my name's Leena Marie Saleh, the Edtech Guru, and we'll see you guys next time. Bye, everybody.